Maria was only 16 when she first encountered the homeless man. Back then she worked as a waitress in a small cafe near the train station. It was there that she met him every day, sitting at one of the tables without asking for anything, silently observing everyone around him. What struck Maria was his eyes, deep pools of sadness that seemed to hold 1,000 untold stories. He had an air of dignity about him that made Maria feel ashamed for not acknowledging him. So every day on her way home, she bought him some food and left it by the table. She did this consistently, day after day, rain or shine, for over 12 years. As the years went by, she continued to bring him food, a simple gesture that became a constant in her life. He would always be there waiting patiently, and when she approached with the food, he would nod his head slightly as if to say thank you. He never spoke, never uttered a sound, yet his eyes spoke volumes. They told tales of a life filled with hardships, of dreams lost and found, and of a spirit that refused to be broken. For all those years, she wondered about his past, who he was, why he was there, what had led him to this point in his life. She imagined a life story so full of pain that it made her heart ache just thinking about it. The homeless man's presence became an integral part of Maria's daily routine. It was a ritual that gave meaning to her otherwise ordinary life. But the world they lived in was far from kind. People often looked away from those who were less fortunate. They saw the homeless man, but they chose to ignore him, treating him like a nuisance rather than a fellow human being. But Maria saw him, really saw him, and in doing so, she discovered a strength within herself that she never knew she possessed. Years passed, turning into a decade and then another decade. During all that time, the homeless man remained an enigma, a silent shadow in Maria's life. Then one day, he simply disappeared. Maria was taken aback. Where had he gone? Had she done something wrong? Questions swirled in her mind, seeking answers. The spot where she used to meet him became a painful reminder of his absence. Every day she would go to the cafe, hoping to see him, but he never came back. Months turned into a year, and hope began to fade. Had she imagined their encounters all those years? Was he just a figment of her memory? These thoughts tormented her. Then one day, as Maria walked past the old cafe, she saw him. He was sitting at the same table, looking just as she had last seen him. A wave of relief and joy washed over her. Time seemed to stand still as their eyes met. In that instant, all the years of wondering, of searching, melted away. Over the years, the homeless man had become a constant fixture in Maria's life. She had grown accustomed to his presence, his quiet dignity. His sudden disappearance had left a void that nothing else could fill. When she saw him again, it was as if a piece of her soul had been returned. As she approached him, he looked up, his eyes filled with a lifetime of stories. She couldn't help but notice how much older he looked, how the years had etched lines on his face and weariness in his eyes. Yet there was still that spark of resilience that she had come to admire. He didn't speak, but his silence was no longer awkward. It was comfortable, like an old friend. Maria felt a rush of emotions, happiness, surprise, and a tinge of sadness at the years they had lost. When Maria reached out to touch his arm, she felt a surge of affection. It wasn't just pity, it was a deep, profound feeling that transcended their social differences. In that moment, she realized that their bond went beyond the food she brought him. It was a connection of souls, a shared understanding that had been forged in the fires of life's adversities. As their eyes met, Maria saw not just a homeless man, but a soul that had endured, a testament to the human spirit's tenacity. There was a depth to his gaze that hinted at a world of experiences, of joys and sorrows that had shaped him into the person he was. Maria felt a sudden urge to know more, to understand the story behind those tired eyes, to hear the tales he had kept hidden for so long. She wanted to bridge the gap between them, to create a connection that went beyond the boundaries of their different lives. She sat down across from him, and for the first time, they engaged in a conversation. It was a hesitant beginning, like two strangers meeting for the first time. But as the days turned into weeks, the conversations became easier, more comfortable. Through their talks, she learned that his name was John. He had a past, a rich, complex history that had been obscured by the hardships of his present. He had been an engineer, a husband, a father. Life had dealt him a cruel hand, stripping him of everything he held dear. John opened up slowly, revealing his story in bits and pieces. He spoke of a time when he had a promising career, a loving family, a reason to wake up each morning with hope. But fate had intervened, bringing him down and leaving him broken and destitute. As John spoke, Maria listened intently. She didn't just hear his words, she absorbed his emotions, the pain, the regret, the longing for a life that could have been. She saw the raw, unfiltered reality of his existence, the struggles he faced daily, the battles he fought to survive. In sharing his story, John seemed to find a release, a catharsis that had been years in the making. Maria, in turn, gained a deeper understanding of the man she had been bringing food to all those years. Their conversations weren't just about the past though. They talked about everything and nothing, about the rain and the wind, about the people they had once been, and about the dreams they still held onto. There was a comfort in their conversations, a solace that transcended their different worlds. For Maria, talking to John was a journey of discovery, not just of him, but also of herself. She learned that sometimes the greatest connections are forged in the most unexpected places, that empathy and understanding can bridge even the widest divides. One evening, as the sky grew dark and the wind began to pick up, John looked at Maria with an intensity that startled her. He seemed older suddenly, more weary, as if the weight of his years had pressed down on him all at once. "Thank you," he said, his voice hoarse but steady. "Thank you for all these years, for not turning away from me." His words hung in the air, carrying the weight of unspoken emotions. Maria's heart ached at his words. She realized that for all the years she had been bringing him food, she had been receiving so much more in return: understanding, companionship, and an appreciation for the resilience of the human spirit. It was in that moment that she understood the true depth of their connection. It wasn't just about the food or the charity. It was about the shared humanity, the mutual respect, and the quiet bond they had forged. They continued to meet regularly, their bond deepening with each passing day. Maria found solace in John's wisdom, in his ability to find meaning in the midst of hardship. He taught her that it wasn't the circumstances that defined a person, but their response to those circumstances. As the seasons changed and the years rolled by, their friendship became a beacon in the darkness. Through it all, Maria carried the memories of their friendship, the lessons John had taught her, and the unwavering strength he had shown her. Then one day, tragedy struck. Maria found herself at her lowest point, facing a challenge that seemed insurmountable. The world she had known was crumbling around her, leaving her lost and afraid. She thought back to John, to his quiet strength, to his ability to endure. And she remembered his words, spoken so many years ago: "Never give up hope. Hope is the light that guides you through the darkest nights." With newfound determination, Maria confronted her challenges head-on. She drew upon the strength she had witnessed in John, the homeless man who had taught her the true meaning of resilience. As she fought to regain her footing, she realized that the journey she was on was not just about her own struggles. It was about honoring the legacy of a remarkable man who had touched her life in ways he would never know. And then one day, as Maria walked through the bustling city, she saw him. John, the homeless man who had been a fixture in her life for over 12 years, was standing in front of her, looking healthier and happier than she had ever seen him before. He was no longer the haggard, weary man she had met all those years ago. Instead, there was a lightness in his step, a twinkle in his eye that made him seem almost invincible. Overwhelmed with emotion, Maria rushed to him, her heart pounding in her chest. As they embraced, she could feel the years of shared history between them, the silent understanding, the mutual respect. In that moment, she knew that their paths had crossed for a reason, that their connection was something that had endured the test of time. As they stood there embracing, the world around them faded away. All that mattered was the connection they had forged, the bond that had been strengthened through the years. With a sense of overwhelming joy, Maria realized that their journey together was far from over. They had shared a past, weathered life's storms side by side, and now they were ready to face the future, together.